Yes, folks, hello, welcome to MoDXtra Games and Collectibles. I'm Chris, otherwise known online as the True Mr. Six. This is my channel, and it is my absolute pleasure to have you here with me today for what is going to be yet another action figure review for you to consume and enjoy. And as you can see here, we're going to be taking a closer look at a G.I. Joe Classified Series figure. We're going to take a closer look at the Jason Shockwave Faria. So it's my sincere hope, really, that the review I offer up on the YouTubes today will help you make your mind up. If you're thinking about picking one up for yourselves and you're a bit unsure, well, yeah, hopefully I'll be giving you enough of a look at the fig that you can make your mind up as to whether he is one for you, whether he's one you want in your collection. So stick around. We're going to be talking about the aesthetic and the visual experience of the figure. Going to be talking about all the ups and downs with regards to the articulation and the posability. Going to do a lovely little walkthrough of all the extra added value accessories that we get to enhance our playtime experience. And with all that said and done, there should be plenty of content there so that you can make a purchase decision around Shockwave. So yeah, let's get into it. But before we get into the meat of the review section, let's go back in time now together, folks, and take a look at the initial unboxing, that first instinctual reaction that I had to the figure as I cracked open the packaging and examined this lovely digital render and all that a couple of days ago. So yeah, let's do it. Back in time. Here we are then, folks. Here is the Jason Shockwave Faria. Let's go for Faria. Faria. Anyway, here he is in packet, still on the windowless packaging right now. And we're looking at the standard G.I. Joe Classified Series kind of packaging motif that we've had for a little while, with the digital render of the figure in a bit of a dynamic action shot, the little cutaway in the top right corner showing off all the goodies, the painted artwork down the right-hand side here, which has been very consistent over these last few, well, more than a few, a large handful of G.I. Joe Classified Series figures, the logo, the name of the figure down here, G.I. Joe Jason Shockwave Faria, the black trimmings, all that good stuff. Great packaging. I'm really pleased that the digital renders aren't entirely going away with the advent of, the return of the windowed packaging. But let's take a look at the back. Shockwave is number 105 in the line. The little measuring stick up the side next to the digital render here tells us that he's 6.2 inches tall. Another shot of all the goodies. A few highlighted features here, like the removable hat and his spare. Well, those look like shotgun shells, but there ain't no shotgun with this figure, but whatever. All the legal bollocks and malarkey across the bottom. And then, of course, folks, we've got the data card. Okay, then, so we've got a lightning bolt here. This is in relation to Shockwave's weekend hobby as an urban explorer. He's into a bit of urban exploration, but he has a specialism specifically in exploring abandoned power stations, hence the lightning bolt there. This here is clearly a pile of packaged up shirts, you know, the fancy dress shirts that you get in packaging, because Shockwave in his off hours has got a certain amount of sartorial flair and likes to buy designer shirts. We've got the little chess piece here, the knight from the chessboard. That indicates Shockwave's fandom for the Netflix series, The Queen's Gambit. Big fan, been on all the forums. He's been chatting away, blogging reviews and whatnot of each episode. And then finally, we've got what looks like some sort of graph or chart here, which makes sense because as solid G.I. Joe lore aficionados will know, Shockwave's a bit of a whiz with the computer, and he's just recently completed his his Microsoft Associate Excel certification. So good job, Shockwave, well done. Absolutely belongs on your data card there. A larger representation of the artwork up the side, 105 again. On to the side, we've got the little sepia version of the artwork, and then the QR code that I've not checked it for a while. It's getting a bit pointless. These things are useless. Right, let's get him open then. I'll pop the tape at the bottom, so we'll do that, and then we should have a weapons locker here. There we go, yep. Number 105, Jason Shockwave Faria. And then the figure himself in the little cardboard frame there. Let's get started with the weaponry. Paperwork. There's the little baggie. Let's get that torn open like you might do with one of those sachet packets of barbecue sauce you get in those dodgy supermarket spare ribs meal deal things. All right, tip all that out. Anything left in there? No, all good. All right, we got a couple of little submachine gun pistols with a magazine each. There's his little cap. Got his truncheon. or riot stick, truncheon. Do you guys say truncheon in North America? Or is that a typically British thing? Bit wobbly that. Got his little hooky knife thing here, his dagger, and then of course the main event, one of the most exciting pieces of accessory in here, the riot shield. Right, let's get him out of here. It's, tie wraps, right, scissory time. There he is then, all clipped out. You can see the artwork at the back of the cardboard frame, as well as the mess I've made of it, because my loving family, someone's bought my really lovely sharp pair of scissors and left me with the crappy blunt ones in the kitchen drawer. And there we are then, folks. There is Shockwave with all his goodies. So, as usual, I'm going to take myself away now, get good and hands-on with the figure, have some solid man-child playtime and gather some thoughts so that I can give a full and frank review of the figure. So stick around, because future Chris is going to come back in a couple of days and share those thoughts in 3, 2, 1... All right, folks, well, I hope you enjoyed my unboxing from a couple of days ago. Let's now get into the figure itself, and let's talk about the aesthetic to begin with, the visual experience. And here is Shockwave, you know, full standing head to toe. Soak him in and enjoy. He certainly brings a different type of flavour to the G.I. Joe Classified Series collection. Just adds something new to the colour palette and to the flavour of specialty that we're seeing in the selection on that side of the shelf. Because, of course, Shockwave is like a SWAT breacher type dude. He's a door kicker. And so his whole vibe, his accessory selection, which we'll get into later, is all focused towards those aspects of his, his speciality, the role he plays in the G.I. Joes. Because he's kind of got a more street, urban police vibe about him. The uniform is in this combination of blues. He's got the light blue overalls underneath some dark blue trimmings, and obviously a tactical vest here. And then the light blue uniform has got the yellow and grey camouflage aspects to it, which is really nice. I brought him a bit nearer to the camera there so you could take a closer look at that with like the little yellow spots and such like. Really brings something a bit different to the colour palette across the shelf. Definitely gives him some shelf presence. He stands out when he's stood in amongst all the kind of military greens and such like. And that is wonderful to give the collection a bit of depth in that respect. One of the key visual experience features that I like to focus on with G.I. Joe Classified Series is the face sculpts. Obviously, there's not a lot going on in terms of face sculpt because Shockwave is wearing a balaclava over his face, but look how well the balaclava is sculpted for a start. You can see all the kind of seam lines in the balaclava there, all the stitching and such like. It's really nice. Even with it covering his nose and mouth, you can see how they've sculpted in those facial features, those shapes underneath, just to give it a little bit of depth, a little bit of texture, which I really appreciate. And as usual, even with just the eyes and the eyebrows showing there, the design team have managed to communicate an awful lot about what's going on with Shockwave. He's got just this steely door kicker look in his eyes. Although, what I will say is, and I don't know if this is intentional or not, I feel like one eye is, the paint applications is open wider than the other eye. I don't know if that's because he's like looking down the sights of his gun or something, but it feels a bit uneven in the way that his eyes have been painted. However, they're neatly applied. They're very neatly applied, as are the eyebrows. But yeah, I love it with these figures when you've only got this little limited window of space to just kind of communicate some narrative and some storytelling around the character. And the G.I. Joe Classified guys do it really well with these kind of balaclava or face-covered individuals. You know, you can see it with Beachhead, you can see it with Storm Shadow, etc., etc. So I'm pleased with that, other than the fact that I feel like my eyes are a bit uneven. There's lots of other little paint applications and details here and there to add more texture and depth to the characters. You can see, like here on this pocket on his right-hand shoulder there, we've got a couple of what appear to be shotgun shells maybe that have been painted in the kind of brass colour there, which I appreciate. Although he's not carrying a shotgun, which is a little bit of a continuity error, I suppose, but there they are nonetheless. And then we've got the extra padded bits here painted in black, while the rest of the tactical vest is blue. Got the GoPro communicator on his shelf. Oh, let's get him in focus. There you go. The GoPro communicator on his shoulder there, which is nice and neatly painted. And then other little touches, which I always like. For example, when the belt buckle's different colour to the rest of the belt and things. So that's all lovely. And that continues all the way down through the figure. Some of this is reuse. I think that's, is it Beachhead? That this is mostly reuse of, but you can see the different colour tones, the different blues, the blacks, everything, all giving it just a little bit more depth, a little bit more texture. There's some finer detail sculpting in there as well. So the tactical vest has got all like the pin buttons and straps all sculpted into. You can see the fabric texture on the trousers, although again, this is reuse. We've seen this fabric texture before many times over in G.I. Joe Classified series, which is nice. I mentioned the texture in the balaclava already, so it's all given these extra little elements, these extra bits of sculpting just to bring it to life and give it a little touch of reality there, which is nice. You can see like the details in the shin guards there and the details in the knee pads and what have you. Yeah, lovely. Just really great in terms of the sculpted details. Shockwave's got a few kind of strappy bits here and there, which I'm not always the biggest fan of. They can be a little bit of a faff. So like these wrist guards are little straps strapped on. The thigh holsters are strapped on. He's then got a little knife sheath. Well, it's not a knife sheath, actually. It's like his door entry, cutter that's strapped on. And, I just find it a little bit annoying when I have to do a lot of fiddling to sort of straighten them up and not make them look so skiwiffy. I've not got them even on the thighs there, look at the minute, and I just keep fiddling with them to try and get them in place. It's all a bit faffy, so that's something to bear in mind. But they do all add to the aesthetic, even if it is also additional kind of bulk and sticky outy bits all over the figure, but that's fine. The tactical vest is quite bulky as well, but it does stop the floating belt from floating a little bit out of hand. Sometimes I find myself having to faff a lot with the strappy bits. I'm not always the biggest fan of loads of things strapping on, hanging off. A more solid figure in that respect. But hey, that's just my choice. It's no big deal. I got a few articulation points that are a bit gappy. You can see up here at the top of the bicep and tricep, the cut in there. I'll talk about the articulation itself in a bit more detail in a moment, but you can see it's just a bit kind of, the gap's a bit big in there and a little bit anxiety inducing, like it's going to pop out. I've also got a big gap. It's a bit disguised right now by this strap here. There you go, I've moved the strap down a little bit. You can see it's a bit gappy here in this thigh cut on the right leg as well. And trying to push it back in a bit, closes it, or you can disguise it with the straps, but it is a bit anxiety inducing when you've got gaps like that in your joints for sure. It doesn't look so great, makes it, just affects the aesthetic experience, the visual experience. So I'll keep hiding that with those straps, I think. But despite those little kind of areas of irritation, overall, I enjoy the aesthetic experience of Shockwave. I like the different flavours, so it's going to be a thumbs up from me on that front. I'm loving the little kind of police breacher thing that they got going on. It's working for me, so there we go. All right, well, that's the visual experience stuff I wanted to point out. Let's now move into the articulation. Okay, then let's get into the articulation now then, ladies and gents. And if you've ever had a G.I. Joe Classified series figure in hand, you'll be familiar with the articulation scheme that I'm going to walk through. But I'll do the steps anyway, just in case this is the first ever G.I. Joe Classified series vid you've watched, or you're a lifer but interested in some of the more unique qualities of the fig. So starting above the head, it's a ball at the top of the neck, ball at the bottom of the neck, and you've got decent down, decent up, full 360 X-assist swivel in there, and then the bit of tilt and movement to allow you some more expressive head positioning. Moving down into the shoulders, there's the butterfly joint there, but it's a little bit restricted by this front edge of the tactical vest. There's not a great deal of shuffle in there, but it does exist. Then you've got the hinge and swivel in the shoulders, giving you the full 360 all the way round, and the T-shape up to there. Swivel at the top of the bicep and tricep. That's the one that's a little gappy on that side, but there it is. Double elbow pinless that will get you up to there. Then the pinned hands, which will give you a swivel at the wrist. And then this side here, the right hand has got the swivel up and down, the hinge up and down. And the left hand here has got the hinge forward and back. Into the torso, and I'm pretty sure there is a diaphragm cut under there, but obviously with the tactical vest that is entirely restricted, so you're relying on the hip motion there, which is a ball joint in the hip, giving you some swivel and a little bit of forward and back. Moving down into the groin area, you've got the standard G.I. Joe Classified series drop-down joint, which gives you a good solid forward. Big Russian ballet split vibes there with Shockwave, well done son. Then swivel here at the top of the thigh cut. It's a pinned double knee that will get you up to there. We got swivel at the top of the boot, although something I forgot to mention earlier in the aesthetic, I don't know if you can see there, this shin guard is slightly not straight, not fully aligned. It's like it was on the Alley Viper. I don't know if that's intentional. Is that something to do with tactical positioning and protecting more of your body somehow, or is that just a weird misalignment? I don't know. But yeah, you got the boot swivel at the top of the boots there, and then the classic hinge and rocker on the feet at the ankles, giving you a range of motion in that space. Yeah, so good solid articulation scheme. It's up to the usual G.I. Joe Classified Series standard, and therefore the articulation is getting a thumbs up. MoDXtra recommends. I like the G.I. Joe Classified Series articulation. It works for me. I've been able to get him into some really interesting poses and do some interesting stuff with the figure. As you can see, he's a great independent stander as well. He's got an awesome centre of gravity, and even though the tactical vest does restrict the diaphragm cut and the butterfly joint, I've still managed to get him into some interesting stuff, you know, take some photos of him with his weaponry and his accessories, and it looks great. So yeah, no issues there at all. Thumbs up. Okay, into the accessories and added value now then. Let's get started with the main event, which is this big breach shield here, this big breaching shield. Shockwave is one of only a handful of characters that have these kind of big full body length shields, or full body length-ish shields. This is definitely a nice piece of kit with lots of flavour on it. I love the two big lights on the front here with the paint applications to indicate the high-powered lighting there. Got some paint applications on these grey bits, the Cobra Kills counter painted across the top, all the rivets in the metal work, but then also look at all this kind of action damage that's on the shield too. Little dents and scrapes really give it some texture and life. So that's an impressive piece of kit. It's not without its flaws though. So to attach it to the figure, we've got a little grippy handle for the hand, and then this clip here. But this clip that clips around his wrist, this little C-clip, is very loosey-goosey. It's not very strong and isn't particularly confidence-inspiring when you clip it onto his arm. Also, what I've found is that when I do clip it onto his arm, I have to remove the little wrist guard thing to make it a nice fit. So you have to pop the hand off, remove the little wrist guard there, and pop that back in here, and then it's designed to go in the right arm, which has got another issue actually, which I'll point out in a minute. So there you go. You can see it's you have to just sort of manipulate the hand around the handle, and then by removing the wrist guard, it's got a nicer kind of clip around the wrist area here. And then it's just a case of sort of using the swivel in the hand. At least that's what I found, the swivel in the hand, to get your sort of positioning right with how you want him to hold it. So if you want it kind of out to the front there, you swivel the hand forward like that to get it working, you know. Also, one element that's confused me is it's clearly designed to go on the right arm, but this little cutaway corner here, is that not like a little pokey over-the-top section for him to poke his gun over? But if he's holding the gun in his left hand there, then the maths of that doesn't add up, does it? It's not right. So am I missing something there? Is there anyone out there in my viewing community who's a bit more familiar with sort of breech shields of this nature could tell me what the intent is for that cutaway corner? Because it feels like that should be on the other side so that he can sort of poke his gun over that little gap there while still protecting the main part of his body. Yeah, I don't know. Am I missing something? Let me know. So that's the shield, the main event, but we've got some other extra bits and bobs. We've obviously got his cap here, a single piece of moulded plastic. It's got a little bit of give. It's in the matching colour scheme and camouflage scheme as the rest of his overalls. It's got some sculpted detail in there to bring it to life, and a little bit of textured detail again to make it look like it's fabricy. This is decent. This is fine, although what I have noticed is that you have to kind of put it on front to back to give it a decent fit. If you go sort of from the back to the front, you get this weird sort of balance on the base of his head that doesn't fit right. So I've been going front to back like that and sort of pressing it down over the back of his head there, which gives it a better fit. Shockwave comes with some other additional gear. We've got this little door entry tool here, which you can use for helping him break locks and whatnot. That's got some storage on the figure with a little sheath down on his ankle there, which you can just slide in like so. He's also got this little dagger, which is, again, a single piece of moulded plastic. It's a little bit rubbery on the end of the blade, but it's fine. Got some sculpted details in there to bring it to life a little bit. As always, when it comes to bladed weapons, my main criticism is always that they've not bothered to put a paint application sometimes for the metallic colour on the blade, but it is what it is. That too has got some storage on the figure. Got a little knife sheath here on the tactical vest, and that slides in like that. It's a good solid fit, not going to fall out anytime soon. And then we've got the riot baton, or we would call this a truncheon over here in the United Kingdom. Although, is the truncheon a different thing to a riot baton? I don't know. Anyway, here it is. This is definitely very gummy, rubbery plastic. In fact, it came out super bendy when I first opened it out of the packet. I made a little Instagram post making a work-related stress joke. But it's definitely a bit gummy. I've left it as is because I wanted to sort of record the video with the bend on show, but a little bit of steam on that should sort that out. I'll get that sorted. But yeah, it's it's obviously a key piece of kit for these type of these breach door kicker police people types. It's got some sculpted details in there. It's fine. The only thing is, I've had a good look at the figure. I can't find anywhere on the figure itself to store that. Unless there's something I'm missing once again. So I'm open to suggestions or anyone pointed out anything I've missed there, but I couldn't find any like little like a little loop on his belt or anything to put it into, which is a wee bit of a shame. And then his main weapons are these two little machine pistol type things, which are okay. I've got to admit, I'm not the biggest fan. I think they're all right as far as a sculpted piece of weaponry goes. You know, they're a decent piece of single molded plastic. They've got sculpted details in. They've got the removable magazines if you want to take some photos of him in dioramas reloading and all that. They just seem a little weenie and a bit, I don't know. I feel like he needed something a bit more. Oh, what's that? What's the gun? An MP5? Something with a little bit more, I don't know, heft to it than that. It just feels like he's been sold a little short on the weaponry selection. Because when you put them in his hands, I mean, tell me what you think, but I feel like they get a little bit drowned out by the hand. Like they seem even more diminutive when you put them in his hands. Do you know what I mean? And like they're lacking a little bit of, I don't know, just it's not really got the shock and awe that that your door breacher, your door kicker should have, does it? So yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of those. Certainly not when you're posing him up with the shield. I feel like you should have something a bit more submachine gunny or rifley in the mix. But it's a choice they've made. These little machine pistols have also got on-figure storage. He's got some holsters on his thighs, one on each leg, and they slot in. Again, nice and firm. It's a good fit in there, even with the little extra extended magazine pointing out. So overall, yeah, it's a solid accessory selection. I'm definitely going to give it a thumbs up. It's really got that kind of storytelling aspect to the accessory selection, which gives you a nice range of options when it comes to posing your figure up, doing your dios, making interesting displays, which is all good. And as I mentioned before, the character's bringing a whole new flavour, a new dimension to the type of specialist that we've got on the G.I. Joe side of the shelf. So I'm happy and comfortable with all that. The machine pistols are just probably my main criticism there. I'm not going to retread that, but I like what's going on overall there. Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting, and it's got some nice world-buildery elements to it. I can't help but feeling like there's something missing, but I can't put my finger on what. And I say this every time, and I suspect it's probably because I'm just greedy and I want more accessories and stuff thrown in with the figures. But if you've got any suggestions about what might have really sent it stratospheric in accessory selection, then do drop it in the comments down below, because I feel like there's just something more. I think it might be the shotgun I mentioned earlier on. I feel like you need something to blow locks off. Do you know what I mean? Like you see them do, like a pump action to break open a door, especially with the shotgun shells that are strapped to his pocket there. But that's about the only thing. But yeah, overall, I've had a lot of fun, done some really interesting poses. The range of accessories gives you a selection of things that you can do that I've really enjoyed. So I'm going to have to give it a thumbs up because, yeah, I've really liked it. Okay, super quick figure comparison time, folks. I've dug out the Alley Viper as my other shield-bearing G.I. Joe Classified Series figures. You can see one of the pair of them look like across from each other. The Alley Viper's also got a misaligned shin guard on the same leg as well, the left leg. So I'm definitely thinking there's something in that. Should the shield be on the right hand, and therefore if you're walking sideways, or so, did you get what I'm saying? Maybe I'm putting the shield on the wrong side on the Alley Viper there. Anyway, I asked before, let me know in the comments down below if there's an explanation for the wonky shin stuff going on. And here we go, here is Shockwave with Beachhead. Obviously, there's some chunks of reuse between Shockwave and Beachhead, most notably the lower half, the trousers, the legs, the shin guards, all the same, just with the new paint applications. And so, clearly, Shockwave and Beachhead shop at the same tailor. So, final thoughts time then, folks, and here is Shockwave making his way around on the turntable. I've not settled on that as a shelf display pose, it was just the last pose I put him in before I slammed him on camera, basically. But overall, I'm very happy with him. I like that new flavour that he adds to the G.I. Joe Classified range of G.I. Joe's specialists, I like the addition of the blue to the colour palette. I think it's an interesting selection of accessories. It brings some nice narrative storytelling playtime to the action, and the positives outweigh the negatives overall as far as I'm concerned. So I'm very happy to have him in the collection. I've been enjoying him a great deal this last couple of days. So yeah, I don't think there's much more else to say than that really overall. If you're looking for a bit of something to add some colour and add some differentiation, oh god, something different for your shelf, then this is your guide. Definitely, I absolutely do give it a MoDXtra recommend. So there we go. Okay, well, if you have found this a useful review today, it has contributed to helping you make a purchase decision and make your mind up whether Shockwave is the figure for you, then it would really help me out if you slammed a like. And if you're not already subscribed, hit the subscribe button. I do reviews of this nature all the time, and I'm super friendly and helpful. So, well, why wouldn't you? It costs you nothing, and it means ever so much to me. You'll make my dreams come to life. And while I'm on the subject, once again, thanks ever so much to all those who've been subscribed already. The MoDXtra Games and Collectibles viewing community are the best, and those of you who jump into the comments and get into conversation with me, I really appreciate your time, your support, and your energy. All right, okay, well, that's it for today. I hope to see you around these parts again sometime soon for something else. But in the meantime, I wish you an awesome day, an awesome week, an awesome month in the lead up to Christmas, and I'll see you next time. Ta-ra, folks.